Gold and Blue Tube here with you, and on this video I'm going to do a preview and a review of West Virginia's football season. I'm going to do a review of last year and a preview of this year. Now, this past year I didn't have a lot of expectations. My guess was 5 wins. We ended up with 5 wins. That performance against Missouri, though, kind of shook me on that just a little bit because we got blown out and Kendall looked terrible in that game. So I almost backed down to 3 wins for the season. Stayed with 5. We ended up with 5. So whenever I go back and look at who we played and the scores, there's only really 3 games that we performed very poorly. That was the Missouri game, the Iowa State game, and the Oklahoma game. We didn't do great against Texas Tech either, but really it was those other 3 games that really worried me. Now, the surprising thing that lifted my hopes back up was our defense. We had one of our best defenses we've had in a very long time. That was very nice to see. Kept us in ball games. We just had too many turnovers in a lot of those ball games to win them. But if you look at the scores, we had Baylor 17-14, lost by 3. Even Oklahoma State, we lost by 7. So we were in ball games, but ultimately it was the turnovers that cost us. Now, as we all know, Kendall started the year up until the Kansas State game. To be honest with you, Kendall was not that bad. He really wasn't. He did have interception issues, but a lot of his problems were actually our wide receivers. They were dropping the balls that were thrown to them, and their route running wasn't that great either. But Coach Brown decided to make the switch for the Kansas State game, and it paid off immediately, switching over to Daggy. It's not really talent-wise. It wasn't a really huge jump in talent. Like I said, Kendall wasn't bad, really. But I think it was Daggy coming in and immediately becoming the leader that we needed. That was one of Kendall's problems. He wasn't a great leader. He's a decent player, but not a great leader. It looks to me like Daggy is going to be a great leader for our offense. So last year, 5 wins. Most of our losses we were close in, couple of blowouts, but all in all, pretty much what I expected. A lot of people are freaking out about this transfer portal thing. Look, you got to remember, these are 18 to 22-year-olds. Their minds are still not made up, this and that, whatever. So you just have to let them go. If they're not going to buy in, they need to leave. Don't have anything bad to say about them, but, if somebody's not going to buy in, then they don't need to be here, bottom line. Brown, recruiting much better than Holgerson already. The last time I checked, our recruiting class is 35th right now. The best that Holgerson did was 33rd. So he's already right up there, and we have a chance to be in the top 30 in recruiting class in his first year at West Virginia. So that looks really, really promising. So that's a look at last year. Let's look into the next year. So our schedule, I like our schedule. I really do. We start off with Florida State. They're rebuilding. They have a new coach. I expect that to be a win. Then we have Eastern Kentucky, win. Maryland, win. And I think Kansas State at home is going to be a win. Then we have our first road game at Texas Tech. So this is one of those 50-50 ball games for me. I'm not sure how mentally tough we will be for the road. Now, to end this year, we did well at Kansas State and at TCU, so that was promising. So we'll see how that goes. Then we get TCU at home and at Texas. So after that, to me, it seems like we should be a 4-2 team going into the Kansas game. That should be a win, 5-2. And I do think we have a shot to finally beat Oklahoma at home this year. Yes, I do. So we're looking at 6-2. Overall, I think we could end up with 8 wins, 7 and 8 wins, 9 at the highest. So that will be a big improvement. One of the big things that happened after our season was over was the Steele brothers. They're coming back. Yes, that was a big win for us. They could have easily went to the NFL. They have that kind of talent. So our defense is going to have a good defensive line. Again, putting pressure on the quarterback was one of our go-tos this year. It's going to be the same next year, hopefully, maybe even a little bit better. And I think our offense is going to take a huge step forward with Deggy under the helm, starting right off the bat. And then Garrett will be under the wings, learning off of him. And eventually, I think Garrett will take over, and I think he'll do just fine as well. But for next year, Deggy's our man. And for the short sample size that we saw from him, I think he's going to be a great leader. He's a good player. He's really bought into Brown's system. And like I said before, Brown recruiting at a higher level than Holgerson already. I think we could crack the top 30 in our recruiting class. So we'll see how that turns out. All in all, next year, West Virginia is going to be bowl bound. I'm going to say 8 wins, but we could crack 9 wins. That would be great. Not too distant future, though. Not too distant future. 10-win seasons are coming. Competing for the Big 12 championship coming. And I think under Brown, we will win a Big 12 championship. So that's it for my preview from last year and our preview for the coming year and review from last year. I hope you enjoyed this video. My hopes are high. Let's get to a good bowl next year, and let's go Mountaineers.